Hello everyone, I'm Rashmi Mangla. I'm working as an assistant professor for the BBA department of St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. The subject that I'll be teaching today is human resource management. This is our 21st lecture and we were doing unit 4. So just these are the topics that were remaining, and this is our last lecture. So we'll be covering balance scorecard, advantages of balance scorecard, process to create balance scorecard, competency based HRM, types of competencies, competency framework, and developing a competency framework. Let's see these topics one by one. Now, balance scorecard. See, balance scorecard, it is basically a performance metric tool or a management tool, wherein we measure the performance of the workers or the employees, and we also provide feedback to the organization. It mainly comprises of 4 components which have mission, which have perspective, which has objectives and measures. Let's see it in detail. The balance scorecard is a strategy performance management tool, a semi-standard structured report that can be used by managers to keep track of the execution of activities by the staff within their control and to monitor the consequences arising from these actions. So basically, it's a management tool wherein a proper report is maintained, which the managers use to, keep a track so that they can have a record of all the activities that are done by the staff within the control of the management, and they can also monitor the consequences that arise from that or they arise. Then a balance scorecard is a performance metric used in strategic management to identify and improve various internal functions of a business. See, when we know how the employees are working, when we keep a record of it, so as and when required, if we think that some things are not going on proper, so we can, improve those. So it helps us in improving various internal functions of a business and their resulting external outcomes. And not only this, through balance scorecard, we can use it to measure and to provide the feedback also to the organization. Now, let's see the advantages of a balance scorecard. Now, balance scorecard, it has these main benefits which I mentioned here, the 4 main benefits. Strategy and vision. See, balance scorecard, it brings strategy and vision as the focus center is management. Management is the center point. Then it brings in coordination. A single management report, it combines apparently distinct elements like customer oriented, shortening report time, improving quality, etc. of a competitive agenda. So a lot of coordination is there. Then better communication. Now it facilitates communication and understanding of business goals and strategies at all organizational levels. So we are, better communication is made by the scorecards. Then comprehensiveness, and not only this, not apart from these 4, the 5th point is feedback also. Feedback is also very important, so that also is an advantage. See, when we talk about comprehensiveness, the management is provided comprehensive picture of business operations. Then feedback, the card, it also protects against subordination as it emphasizes on combination of traditional as well as non-traditional performance measures. So these are the advantages of balance scorecard. Now we'll see, the steps that are used or the process which is there to create balance scorecard. So the following steps have to be followed. First one is identification of vision. So first step is we have to identify that what vision we want to follow and what is there that we want to achieve. So we have to identify our vision. Second step is identification of strategies. See, the company has to identify its strategies, implying as to finding the path to follow to achieve the desired vision. Whatever path we'll be, using, we have to follow that so that we can achieve the desired vision. Thirdly, identification of success factors. See, critical success factors are to be identified, like what the company has to do in each perspective. So we need to identify what can be our success factors. Then identification of measures. Now, when we identify measures, it shall pave the way for ensuring that things are moving in the right direction. So when we want to know that things are working in the right direction, we will identify the measures that we have to take. Then identification of scorecard. The balanced scorecard, it is then evaluated so that we can ensure that what is being measured is appropriate or not, that whatever we are measuring, that is appropriate, up to the mark or not. Then creation of action plans. Now these are created when balanced scorecard is to be reported, that is a plan about it is also prepared. Last step is we have to follow up and manage. Reporting system, we have is to be properly chalked out, that is we have to properly follow it, properly manage it, and who is to be reported and how. We should know that who is to be reported, to whom we have to report, and how we have to report. Everything should be told properly. So these are the processes that are required to create a balanced scorecard. Now we have a last concept, which is competency based human resource management, competency based HRM. See, when we talk about competencies, they are any observable abilities or skills or knowledge, motivation or traits that can be defined in terms of the behavior needed for successful job performance. So any of these abilities or skills that we have in order to have a proper job performance, we call them competencies. Let's see the definition. According to Mansfield, competency is an underlying characteristic of a person that we'll just continue. According to Mansfield, competency is an underlying characteristic of a person that results in effective or superior performance. Basically, whatever characteristic due to which the employee is able to perform better, they are called competencies or skills of those employees. So the competency based human resource management, it is an approach that standardizes and integrates all HR activities, whatever HR activities which are based on competencies that support the organization goal. All those are standardized and they are integrated under competency based HR management. And competency based HRM, it is the concept of behavioral and technical competencies, wherein it can include core competencies, it can include functional competencies or leadership competencies. Now we'll see the types of competencies here. See, there are three types of competencies mainly: behavioral competencies, technical competencies, and NVQs and SNVQs. First, we'll see the behavioral competencies. These competencies defines the behavior expectations. It can be regarding your communication, it can be regarding teamwork, leadership, and decision making. And they are also known as soft skills. So, wherever our behavioral expectations are defined, we call them behavioral competencies or skills. Then, second is technical competencies. Technical competencies, they are behaviors that are related to the nature of training and the technical proficiency. How proficient a person is in technical, or how many technical skills it does have. All those comes under technical proficiencies. And whatever technical proficiency is there, it is required that they can exercise effective control on that. So those are technical competencies. The third one is NVQs, that is National Vocational Qualification and Scottish National Vocational Qualification competencies. Now these specify minimum standards for achievement of set tasks and activities expressed in ways that can be observed and assessed with a view to certification. So herein some standards are set and specified that if you want to achieve a certain task and activity, it should be expressed and it should be observed and assessed with a view to certification, that a proper certification should be done. Now the next topic is competency framework. See, a competency framework, it contains definitions on the behavioral competencies used in the whole or part of the organization. Wherein behavioral competencies are defined, that part is called competency framework, and we can use it in either in the whole organization or maybe in a particular part of the organization. Now, competency framework, it is a means by which organizations communicate. वो तरीका जिससे organization communicate करेंगे, which behaviors are required, value recognized and rewarded with respect to specific occupational roles. It ensures that staff in general have a common understanding of the organization's values and expected excellent performance behaviors. Then let's see that how we can develop this kind of framework. Now, developing a competency framework. Now, in order to develop the competency framework, we need to undertake these following steps. First one is understand your purpose or program launch. Now, decide on the purpose of the framework and the HR process, for which it will be used. We have to first understand and decide it. Then make out a business case for its development. Once we decide, we will make out a case for its development, for setting out the benefits to the organization in such areas as improved performance or better selection outcomes. Then, second step is involvement in communication. We have to involve line managers and employees in the design of the framework and communicate the objectives of the exercise to the staff. Third one is framework design. Now, in this stage, we will create a framework structure that identifies the competency by name and defines the behaviors that are associated with it. We can accomplish this framework design by maybe grouping or categorizing the competencies, by creating definitions. Then next step is we have to define use of the competency framework. We have to define that exactly how the competency framework, how it is intended to be used, and covering such applications as performance management or learning and development, etc. So the use of competency framework has to be defined. Next is test the framework. Now, once we have defined the uses, next step is test the framework by gauging the reactions of the balanced selection of line managers and other employees to ensure that they understand it and they believe that it is relevant to their roles. Next one, finalize the framework. Now, amend the framework as necessary following test and prepare notes for guidance on how it should be used. Then we have next step is communicate. We have to let everybody know whatever is the outcome of the project that we have undertaken. So we have to communicate. We have to tell the outcome. Then train. We have to give line managers and HR staff training in how to use the framework that has been made. Last step is monitor and evaluate. Now, last step is monitor and evaluate the use of the framework and amend. That is, if any amendments are required, we will do so whenever, as and when it is required. So this is how we can develop a competency framework. Let's see some of the questions over here based on today's concept. What is a balanced scorecard? Also explain its advantages. Enumerate the process to create a balanced scorecard. What do you understand by competency based HRM? Explain the types of competencies. Explain competency framework. What are the steps to develop the framework? With this, our syllabus for human resource management is complete. Please revise it thoroughly. All the best for exams, children. Thank you.